Hey, Max. So we'll start off here. I'm going to let Max just give you guys a little bit of a overview of the meeting. First, Max is going to give us some biz dev updates, and I was going to bring Deez up, who's going to talk about the brand and I think do a screen share and a little presentation for us, which will be exciting. Then I have a few updates. Then I wanted Farmer Dan, maybe he can do a screen share of a couple of the sweet shirts, and a couple of exciting merch pieces came in, so that's pretty sweet. We have a PR update with JWW, and then also he'll give some poker tournament updates, which has been a lot of progress on there. We'll be talking about the new email addresses. Jaker B has been taking point on that, and then open floor discussions. I think there's a couple of other folks who I'm sure will want to chime in with some stuff. And then that's all I have on my list here. I was a little late distributing the schedule, so sorry about that. I'll try to be quicker on that for the next meetings. If you feel as if you want to hop up and talk about anything, there'll be a good amount of open time at the end. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Max So, who can give us some biz dev updates.
Hey guys, sorry to join a few minutes late. I'm at ETH Denver right now, so I just stepped out. It's a really cool event, and if you guys are here, say what's up, reach out to me. And for anyone who wants to come to the happy hour tomorrow at 5:30, please do. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna have some food, we're gonna have some drinks. Yeah. So quick updates. We are talking with Inverse Finance right now about something interesting. They have a stable coin that's called DAO. And essentially what we're looking into is creating a Bean-DAO pool, allowing the LP to be deposited in the silo, and then to take essentially that silo deposit and then use it as collateral to mint more DAO. So this just lines up nicely for both of our parties because they're trying to mint more DAO. We're trying to involve other tokens and build more liquidity in the silo. So I think that'd be really interesting. So that's been Syncubate and Liam who've been heading that. So shout out to you guys. So Inverse is new. That's exciting. We're still kind of hammering things out, trying to get a proposal over to them soon. TBTC, we're still chatting with them. I actually just saw some of the founders at ETH Denver, said hello to them. And yeah, I mean, we've been a little bit slow getting this material over to them. They were still a little bit confused for our conversation. So still getting them up to speed. Yeah, that's the bulk of what was new kind of this week. Another thing that I'm starting on is we're essentially starting a Diamonds Foundation for any other protocols that use diamonds. And so reaching out to some protocols and gauging their interest. But essentially the goal is for us to be funding other protocols that use diamonds and just have like a say as a group, you know, what we think should be improved about it. Yeah, that's the bulk of my updates.
Cool, thanks, Max. And yeah, have a great time at ETH Denver. And just mention again when that when the happy hour is.
So it's 5:30 p.m. tomorrow.
Cool. Do you want me to post that in the Discord, or you want to leave that? I know you've posted it a couple of places, but do you want me to in the events?
I'll repost the flyer. It's 5:30 p.m. tomorrow at 3627 Tejon Street. So I'll just repost that for everyone.
Do you want me to post in the Discord events? Because I can do that too, but is that too wide or is that okay?
Yeah, you go for it.
Okay, I'll post it there.
Cool.
All right, cool. Next, Deez, do you want to take us through take us through the new look of Beanstalk?
Hey, yeah. Yeah, sorry, one sec. Let me set up the screen share. Okay, awesome. Well, thanks everyone. Yeah, we thought this would be a good idea, just considering it's going to be quite a big revamp, and so we wanted to, make sure to be open with the DAO, We're gonna have a snapshot up because we want to make sure we have consensus on it as well. We've been working with the design department and also just trying to get feedback from different contributors. And just really excited, honestly, to share with everybody kind of the work that has accumulated till now. So great. Okay, is the screen share working all right? Can I confirm that?
It's working for me.
Okay.
And one other person confirmed that it's working for them.
Okay, I just changed.
Yeah, looks good.
Res. Awesome. Yeah. So, yeah. First off, like, thank you so much to just all the different people who's given feedback. Whether it was a month ago, whether it was while we were doing the brand strategy sessions, if you participate in the workshops, if you help with the user interviews, all super helpful in this and kind of helped lead for that. And yeah, definitely feeling like a bigger collective, and it's interesting and fun to do this with the DAO. So definitely some new ground. Yeah, we think something that might be good is to kind of walk through the design process, because we know, this is a DAO of people who read white papers who understand logic, and it might be good to kind of share some of the reasoning of where our designs are stem from. So just starting right into a brand identity, honestly, just a strong brand identity. We would categorize that we would give this just two things. We would sum it down. And the first thing being a saying that we would say called the exterior reflects the interior. A really common thing, you've probably heard it in science or might see in nature, form follows function. And then the second thing would be consistency, really. Honestly, if you just have these two things, you have a really strong brand. And whether it's good or not, I mean, can't tell you on that, but as long as you have these two things, it's at least strong. And so we can't really control consistency until over time. So for the first one, we can definitely dive deeper into that. So how we're going to get to the exterior is obviously we have to start with the interior. We have to know who we are. We have to know the core of the brand. And that's really where a lot of the brand strategy stems from. And we're going to just take stuff straight from the doc, particularly the brand personality section. So this was when, when we did the exercises and talking with people, talking with Publius a lot, just trying to figure out, okay, what is the brand? What are the core values? Who are we as a person? And I didn't have everything written here, but just a few things as an example. Beanstalk, decentralized. We're focusing on growth in the community, and growth as in, growing yourself as well, gaining skills and learning. Beanstalk's focused on being reliable, being stable, right? And of course, secure. So here are a few things that we think are very core and essential to Beanstalk. And honestly, like Publius kind of, of course, like they did amazing with the protocol, but I think we sometimes can tend to overlook the farming metaphor is really good. It's very on brand for a protocol like this. It just makes sense when we're trying to, grow a community, and the point of it is for a community. And so definitely want to double down on those efforts. And not only that, we want to make sure that we're trying to bring some other things from the core to the outside. And so as we were going through more of the process, trying to figure out a little bit more of, okay, what really makes up Beanstalk? Just again, talking with Publius, listening to the different members, seeing the things that matter the most, right? It's Beanstalk. It's on the blockchain, based off of math and sound principles. And not only that, it combines it with this amazing metaphor of farming and growing this magical beanstalk. So we can really I guess, boil down the interior of Beanstalk to just be like this combination of math and nature kind of coming together. So just keep this in the back of your mind as we go to the exterior or the look and feel. And again, this is stuff all from the brand strategy, things that we've laid out in the personality. And really, these are the 3 words that we're trying to keep as our pillars for everything look and feel for Beanstalk. We want to be refined. It's charming. We're bean farmers. We're digital bean farmers, and it's very iconic with all the different things that we're trying to do. And so if we try to apply these things and make them connect, it only makes sense as we're looking at the inside. We have this combination of math and nature kind of coming together, and it relates perfectly to the golden ratio. And I'm sure everyone, or most people, if not everyone in here, has probably heard of the golden ratio, also known as the Fibonacci sequence. Pretty much just a pattern that you see naturally in nature happen all the time. It's very organic, and we as humans, we're drawn to this ratio, this pattern, just because we see it all the time in nature. And so it's familiar to us, it's comfortable to us, which gives it appeal. And some more examples of it in nature. Because of that, designers utilize it all the time. And one way they do it is they break it down. So on the left, it's just a rounded up version of the golden ratio, but they break that into what we call the 60-30-10 rule. And you might have heard this if you've done like interior design or how they apply it to colors. Like 60% of it would be this main color, 30% would be the off color, 10% would be the accent, something like that. But the great thing about design is we can apply these principles to pretty much anything. And if you can kind of think about these words again, we're going to apply it straight to these pillar words to kind of strengthen the design process. And you can kind of think of this as the Beanstalk white paper. It's a really good thought exercise when you're, when you first read it, when you like looked at it, all those things. We definitely can say that the majority of the white paper is definitely refined. It's very methodical, it's very systematic, it's meticulously designed. So it only makes sense to have that be the majority, the ratio. And then as far as the charm, at the end of the day, I mean, yes, we're based off these, solid math equations, and but we're still bean farmers. We farm beans, we go to the silo and all those things. And so, oh, sorry, just got a ping. And lastly, for the last 10%, we thought it would make sense to make this be the iconic element of Beanstalk. There's so many other protocols that are, there's so many other DeFi protocols, there's other stablecoin protocols. But, what are the things that make us very unique and different? Credit. To some people that could be such like a small, minute thing, but that really means the world to us. What are those quirks that make Beanstalk tick? And so that's really where we're trying to put these ratios in and how we're trying to approach the process. So, okay, with that context in mind, diving into the logo type, we were looking through tons of different, type foundries, lots of different typefaces, trying to figure out, what fits this. And initially, while we were looking at them in the beginning, we didn't have that until we started developing the logo a little bit more. But anyways, we felt like this one, when we landed on it, it definitely had that feeling. And as we started to study a little bit more, as we started to learn more about it and learn more about the type foundry and how they handle design, it made a lot of sense. From afar, it looks very refined. It looks like just every other sans serif font that, I don't know, X tech company uses. But when you zoom in a little bit closer, there's definitely some things that make this a lot more charming and a little bit fun, and definitely make it feel a little bit more iconic. And stuff that you might not even be able to tell in the first read. But again, like it's that little 10%. For example, things like, and I'm not going to go into too much detail unless some people want to ask questions, but for example, something that this typeface does really well in their design system is every vertical 90 degrees. There's no perfect 90 degrees vertical here. Everything is curved slightly. And like these are very deliberate choices that the designers are doing to give it a feeling. That's the type of stuff that we want for Beanstalk because it's very meticulous, it's very deliberate, and it serves a purpose, right? Like it's supposed to give you a feeling. Not only that, another thing that the designers did very well was mess with the heights. And so as you see here, like it's just crazy. I mean, you see this uppercase B to this L and this K, and it's shorter than those when they're the lowercase, and then all these different heights. The T is especially weird, like how they're handling the handles. All very, very deliberate, and again, to give you that feeling. And so these are just a few examples of, I guess, the methods that this design system is utilizing, and we feel like it aligns really well with how meticulous the protocol is as well, and to try to reflect that. And then going into the local market, and I'm skipping over like so many days and weeks of work, but yeah, we can definitely start with some failures here. So what we try to do was go blue sky. So do as many different types of variations with no design constraints, just to see, is there anything there that we're missing? Is there any stone unturned, that kind of a thing. And obviously, when you do these kinds of short sprints, like you just get trash, like you see on the screen right now. But they're very helpful because it kept pointing us towards a feeling. And if you see on the very far left, this is just an initial sketch done a few weeks back, probably a month ago. And we were trying to figure out, like, we couldn't shake this off because it felt like there was something here. We just didn't know how to apply it. And that's kind of where you saw a lot of those earlier iterations from. And so we're like, oh, well, maybe should we try to just vectorize this a little bit and make this a little bit more illustrative? Because we know that that's definitely an approach that could add some charm and appeal and be a little bit different. So we made this in the middle, and then we asked the design team and got some feedback. I was like, oh, it feels a little bit too cartoony. Like we're not sure if this is reflective of the design rules that we've set. And so we kind of just like, oh yeah, that's true. Like took it back to the workshop. And this is where the golden ratio kind of stemmed from, really. Like it is used a lot in design, and I typically try to stray away from just using design rules just for appeal's sake. But this one definitely felt like it had meaning in it because, again, we're trying to reflect what Beanstalk is at a core level. And what better way to show that visually than using this ratio? And so, again, skipping through like a lot of work, we kind of set up an assembly where we're like, okay, this feels like what our original sketch was trying to get at, but finally a lot more refined, using the principles, using the golden ratio to match, or I guess align with the logo type. And so to dive into a little bit more of the construction, using the lowercase n from Beanstalk, we're trying to match even more so the style and really hone in on the design system, making sure that everything follows and is in line, and again, not arbitrary. And so after understanding, what our proportion is for the bean, just like how bean is like the goal of it is really to be the DeFi primitive for everything. We want to apply that in our design system as well. Like we want to use the bean as our like primitive design block, essentially. And one way we're going to apply that is spacing and construction. If you see here, like everything what we're going to try to do moving forward is like base things off of like the bean measurement is what we can call it that. So for example, the bean here on the left, here is just one for reference. It will be like half a bean away from the logo. That's how we're going to do our logo lockup. And then everything from the logo, so the clear space, like that'll all be based off the bean size to make sure everything's proportional and, just continually driving that design system. So for color, yeah, this has been really tough trying to nail something that works with what we want and complements it well. But I guess to go into a little bit of the inspiration. So again, going back to those pillar words, refined, charming, and iconic, really trying to look for things like that. And this is from like the creative direction pitch that we did to Publius like a month ago, I would say, just to see if like this is a good track. And what we're trying to do is trying to find like illustrators or any types of art that have those three elements in it. And we landed on these two artists here, Chris Izaki and Miroslav Sezek. Really wonderful illustrators. I mean, world famous for sure. And just looking at their work definitely has that sense of appeal that we wanted. Definitely charming, definitely different from, your everyday illustration. But I think more so than anything, these styles feel refined. And that's a big reason why we chose the word refined and not professional, because professional can kind of give a weird, I don't know, like office connotation, but refined is more so something that's, time tested. Again, there's a method behind it. There's reasoning, and there's definitely like a design system that this artist is using in the illustrations with the shapes and how they're handling the angles, that kind of thing. So definitely drawn to this type of work. But as far as like the colors, like this was great for sure, but we just needed something in real life to kind of ground us and make sure that we're pulling from nature, make sure that we're not going too crazy, too far ahead of ourselves. And so we started to do a little bit more research and go back into that. And we found out about this plant called the hyacinth bean plant. Super interesting. Did not know about it at all until this project, really. But essentially what this bean plant is, it's between this and another plant, but it's nicknamed like the Jack and the Beanstalk plant. And we're like, oh, wow, that's super cool. I mean, that's pretty much what we're making right now. And so as we looked into it a little bit more, it has like these really vibrant purple pods, and it makes like these really purple flowers. It was crazy. We're like, wow, like didn't even realize this type of bean existed. And could definitely understand like why maybe back in the day they could get this mixed up for like some magic beanstalk, because they're also known to grow tall and pretty fast. But anyways, yeah. So got some good inspiration from that as well, and we wanted to start to apply this to our design system and especially the logo. So here you can kind of see the layout and the ratios and the proportions. We obviously it's not perfect, but again, just like the 90-degree angles, nothing is going to be perfect, and we like that. It's the quirks as far as the ratios go. But yeah, so we felt like this is a good way to show, okay, Beanstalk, we're established. We have this clean type. It's black. It's neutral. But then there's also that last 10%, that iconic element, having this purple bean, something that we thought about a lot and went back and forth on, because previously we had the green bean, which everyone kind of associated with a green bean. And if we made this a green bean, it would be even more of a green. And we're just trying to figure out, like, okay, how can we make this, being agnostic, like something that's decentralized, something that relates a little bit more to crypto, looking at other protocols like Circle or MIM, even like Ethereum's website, definitely seeing some of these relations, but at the same time, something that's different and unique to us. Like the goal is to, just like the Coca-Cola red, have it like the Beanstalk purple or lavender, whatever you like to call it. But yeah, so as far as colors, we'll have a slightly more fleshed out color palette, but wanted to first make sure to get this through and see if this is something that we're liking. And then for type, because we have a good understanding of what our logo is, the shapes of it, the feeling and the theme, we can definitely apply this, again, same thing into the typography. And again, that's what's going to add more consistency to the brand. So obviously that's the name of the first type, or the logo face type, I guess. And this is made by Ono Type Foundry. And it was really interesting when we were looking into this a little bit more, not just from their design system, but like the purpose of it. Why did they even design this, and what was the initial use for this? And they wanted people to use this for things like a laundromat or a nail salon, things that people knew exactly what it was and just needed to get there, right? Things that are easily discernible. And so we're like, oh man, yeah, that's even more perfect for Beanstalk. It definitely makes sense. And even though people might not understand Beanstalk, we want them to know what Beanstalk is. We want them to easily recognize us. And but because obviously it's not the best font for body copy or potentially even like UI elements, we needed another typeface to pair well with it. And so we looked at some other things from the same type company. And another cool thing about it is they really focus on trying to take, I guess, like conventional typefaces, so like an Arial's or a Helvetica, like things that just a regular tech company would use, and put an edge onto it, put a slight iconic element to it. And we really like that because, again, that aligned with our design process. And so we ran into this typeface called Degular. And then again, this isn't like anything to be claimed as done for these mock-ups, like these possibilities. These are just examples to kind of show like how they play together and what it could potentially look like. So on the left, you see like what our current state is, and on the right, how we could upgrade that a little bit more, make it feel much more refined, but of course legible and clear, and adding a little bit of that iconic element or the illustrations. Something with good taste, really. And really, when we were looking through types, like our number one design constraint, honestly, was just clarity, because one thing that we learned from the strategy sessions was just, like it's already hard enough to understand the protocol. So we want to make sure that everything is 100% clear, which was another driving factor for a lot of these design decisions, really. Again, things like not final at all. These things will probably change as we revamp the user experience to match the UI and vice versa. But just to kind of give you an idea of like, okay, how can these work together? How can these potential palettes work together? How can the bean icon fit in with everything? More just, yeah, like samples for what we can do with it. But yeah, really, so that's kind of the vision is, you see on the left is kind of the current style as far as what Beanstalk is doing for the illustrations, and for the right is really where we want to get to. Obviously, we wouldn't want, you know, all this chaos and things like that here on the website. Just talking about the style. Like we really believe that the metaphors are really important. They align well with the brand, and the illustrations, they just need to be doubled down. Like if we're gonna do illustrations, we're gonna do the best type of illustrations because we have the best protocol, really. All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Deez. That was really great and exciting to see all that stuff. I wonder, we do have other things to get to in the meeting, but I think this is a great opportunity to get some people's takes. But I also feel like some of these things you need to look at a few times and let it kind of sit with you and see how it feels before you like, you know, you instantly might have a reaction of one way, but you know, like I think it's important to see it a few times. So is there a way that, would we maybe make that deck, would you feel comfortable making that deck public, or would you maybe just a couple of the logos could be dropped somewhere so people could kind of take a look and we could discuss it more in depth? Maybe we could set aside some time next meeting, or how would you want to do that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So yeah, we wanted to, I know like with marketing, they're ramping up. I think we have like 3 different external vendors that we're starting to work with. I think TV can confirm on that, but that's kind of why we wanted to make sure to just get these core fundamental, you know, brand primitives done so that we could get that to marketing. But there will be like at least a first good version of a style guide, and that's really what was going to be for like the DAO and for Beanstalk Farms, for external vendors. If people want this pitch deck, for sure, but yeah, I'm not sure. I am a little bit hesitant for anyone like who isn't here to take some things out of context, because a lot of things wouldn't make sense unless you heard what I just said. But yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. Maybe I think, but this is a very important thing, and I think that are we planning, like, what are our next steps for this? I feel like at some point we should have kind of like open this up for discussion. I'm just wondering when the most efficient time for that would be.
For sure. I totally thought that was going to be today, but my bad. Did not realize the scheduling.
No, I think we should. I think we should make. I think what we should do is just kind of abbreviate the rest of the meeting so that we have another 10-15 minutes here. Let's take 15 minutes now so we can talk about it. And then let's just take 10 minutes at the end of the meeting to kind of give quick updates on everything else. But I think this is an important thing to take time on.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Yeah, I think we should open the floor for people to give their initial thoughts on it.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's awesome, like the thought that went into everything. You know, kind of similar to how the protocol has just been with all like the terms that are used and like even the name Publius and all these things. It's just like in reference to something else and the meaning behind it, and just like the amount of in depth that you went into with like just the font and everything like that was really, really cool to see. I think it all looks really awesome too. And, you know, I like looking at it first, I was like, oh, purple, I don't know if that really matches. But then just thinking about it from like a wider, like crypto, like Web3, like that side of things, I think it fits in really well.
Yeah, I agree with that feedback. Man, that typography is fantastic. That's so good. And I love the logo too. I'm still getting my hands around the lavender. What I guess my question is, Dees, could you? I mean, you showed it in a couple, like you showed the color palette in some practical usages. What I'm thinking about are other uses of the logo system. I'm trying to think broadly about everything from site design and app design right on out to polos and coffee mugs. Would you be willing to maybe work up a couple other examples of how this system could be applied, and maybe some physical context to just give us a little bit of a view of that as well? I think that'd be really good.
Yeah, so that's a great question. Again, this is kind of like a pitch deck really for the DAO, and the goal for it was to get overall consensus, so that way we can really go in to the nitty gritty and start to get a few of those assets in. I will say though, if we can, like I'm trying to minimize thrown away work, just because I know that we're moving pretty fast. But yeah, like if we need a little bit more context, definitely makes sense. But it would be nice to, like, if there's something in design where we say, if like the logo type, and the colors, if they don't hold by themselves, and like there needs to be context around them, then that's kind of a like we need to rework some things.
No, that's fair. I'm just thinking about the logo and the wording, including typeface, and all the different applications that hopefully this will get. And the idea that goes through my mind is that anything that is going to go out into the public from a more than just a logo, but like a design system, a branding system, might have so many different applications. I guess to your point, really, Dees, if you get the consensus, which I'm 100% behind, I'm really excited. Maybe that's what I want to say, is I'm really excited to see your thoughts on taking this system you're developing and applying it to a handful of different applications beyond what you've already shown us, which is great so far.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks for that. And totally want to preface, like, not trying to get myself out of work. But
no, not at all.
Also,
yeah, understood.
Yeah. And to that point, actually, before I even forget, unfortunately, Guava was not able to make it here just because of work obligations, but he has played a major part in designing this style guide. He was someone that we were able to help contract out. So, but just needed to do that shout out to the DAO. But yeah, no, these are great questions.
Hey, these beans. This is Syncubate. Do you hear me okay?
Hey, Sync, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, man? So, yeah, great presentation. I just coincidentally, I just thought this discussion was the timing couldn't be better. I don't know, maybe the stars aligned. There's a NFT project I follow called Bado Project, and it's an AI NFT artist that comes up with art every week, and then the token holders vote on which art it goes to auction on Super Rare. And you can see I shared it in the Barnyard chat. A few hours ago, they posted the artwork that's going to go on to Super Rare for auction, I believe tomorrow. And just this whole green, purple, lavender discussion in reference to Beanstalk's color palette, it just reminded me exactly what you're talking about. So I think it would be great to incorporate some other colors. So good thinking. Just wanted to give that acknowledgement.
Incubate, that's beautiful. The first thing I thought, just really quick, guys, is if you look at my PFP, like the purple and the green, I was like, oh, it's like look at how close it is to the dumpling color. The magic.
Yeah, and what's interesting too is like Bado, like the holders of that token. So because the way it works is like the art is auction, and then most of the like 85% of the proceeds after Super Rare takes their cut, it goes to burning the Botto token. So what's interesting is they're actually getting real-time metrics or analytics as far as like what colors tend to appeal most to NFT buyers. And so you can see like, you know, that like light, happy, this color of this work this week is, we'll see what it gets in terms of the auction. I'll be curious, but yeah, I think that kind of friendly kind of appeal would definitely maybe entice more people to kind of give Beanstalk maybe a closer look.
Deez, I gotta say, you know, I took a peek at it earlier with you, and looking at it now, it even looks better than when it did the first time. So again, congrats on everything. And I mentioned this before, but I did I guess what I call my mom test, and I sent just the icon, just the logo to my mom, because it seems like we're starting to bring them into the full dumpling, wink wink, and asked what it was, and straight away Bean has no idea about Beanstalk. Sent it to a few others, same thing, Bean. So I think the fact that you can recognize it, yet at the same time it's approachable, like yeah, everything about it, the bean itself so far, it's just fire. It looks great.
Yeah, I love the lavender color. I think bring that into the mix is like, it feels really bold to me, but it's also like iconic, like you guys were going for. I guess the one question that I'm thinking about that's sort of an open question is how you're thinking about an allocation of colors on the new version of the website. Like a majority lavender feels a lot, and maybe I'm just like not being sort of imaginative enough in my mind, but sort of how are you thinking about that, Deez?
Yeah, no, that's definitely a great question and understandable because there's not much clarity in this pitch deck. But so this is definitely our reserve contrast pop color. So again, going back to the ratios, if we're talking about it, you know, with like the 60, 30, 10, this would be the 10%. We would reserve this for like very special things. We'd want this to, again, yeah, be iconic, be that slight variation that you know, make people go like, oh, what's that? Heavy uses of white, I think, just embracing white space, right? Letting illustrations and letting the type do the work, being clear. Like these are kind of my, I would say like gut feelings, just because again, these are the primitive blocks, and we'd have to go in with, you know, the UX UI lead and the UX team as we're applying these primitives and these principles into UX UI. But yeah, for me, that's probably my gut feeling.
I love that. That's exactly where my mind went.
Deez, something I keep seeing when I'm looking at this is like vines crawling over the black letters and sort of like growing up. Like I could totally see, like, if there was a little bit of green in there, just maybe as like the 30, I don't know, but I could see, I feel like green and purple are also kind of complementary. So I don't know, I see that, but also just am imagining an animation where, you know, where vines are growing from the letters. I don't know, I keep seeing that. I don't know if I might just be alone here, and I am not UDs, so also I defer to you. And I think that the more I look at it, you showed it to me earlier, the more I see the purple, the more I like it. So that's just my first thoughts too.
No, absolutely valid opinion. And like those are the things that we could definitely experiment with, right? That's gonna be the fun part moving forward is, you know, how can we take these blocks and really push them? How can we like bend the rules? So any suggestions from the DAO, any fun ideas, like send them over. We want to hear all of them.
Hi, Deez. First of all, thank you for the work, you and the design team. Big fan of the purple. I think it's bold, and bold is, or in my thinking, is what we want to be. A big fan of the new logo and the color.
Yeah, and even just from like a branding standpoint, like when I saw the new logo, it's like immediately thought like it looks more professional almost. You know, when you're thinking about different design things and like like one of the things that came to my mind with the logo is like quarter zips. You know, I think that would look like really clean, just like on there, or just like different things like that. I think it would look really good from a merch standpoint too.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to implement some merch. um,
One question I have for people, and this is not, I don't mean to keep pushing my green thing, but like I feel like growth, farming, green, seedlings, you know, there's so much green that we had. I feel like losing everything of green. Like I would just be a little bit afraid to have like a purple, white, and black website with Beanstalk and to have nothing, to lose a lot of the farming and the growth. Like, is that I don't know. That's the only thing I'd have, like, just because it's been, you know, farming, growth, bean, seeds, sprout, pod. Like, there's so much green that comes to mind. I just wonder if we're going to lose some of that. Like, I don't like. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think I'm on the same page. Is there a little dumpling or D's, you start to go through secondary colors? Have you guys gotten that far yet, or has it just been on the primary with the purple?
Oh, we have a lot of palettes. This has been a hot topic for a minute, but yeah, so as far as the website goes, embracing white, great. Embracing black, great. The purple, like I said, it's going to be limited, but the colors that would be the most, like the 60% colors, it would be the greens and the like these green blues that you see in this illustration right here, or even like these green yellows potentially. And then the 30%, we're imagining that to be like this almost like light yellow green, something that works, you know, very harmoniously, and also it helps the purple to pop. So we're definitely not getting rid of the green. And again, that's just the problem with this pitch deck. You know, we didn't throw in the palette because we didn't want to clutter the brains too much, throwing a lot of design at once. But yeah, definitely want to clear that up.
I feel like it does stand on its own, though. I think that the Beanstalk, I like the look of it. I like the look of the bean. I like the purple. I like the font. I think that it passes the stand on its own test for me. I just wouldn't want to lose the farming feel, you know, largely just to make sense of the of the protocol at large.
This is TV. First of all, I mean, it takes so much to build a brand from the ground up, and I mean, your team has done that. So congratulations. I think it looks amazing. Yeah, all good things to say. I think the logo, when you sent it on the channel, for me, I was like, whoa, that's a big change. But when you put it in context, I think it's making a lot more sense to me. This image on the right, I mean, if that's the color palette, you know, around that, I'd be super excited to see what the final product of the website looks like with all the elements mixed in, and that is going to be amazing. So yeah, congratulations, well done.
Thanks, TV. I'm super excited to see it as well. Do you know any really good illustrators? Because it's going to be quite a task.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
yeah, I didn't. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna go ahead. I have something to say after this, but go ahead.
Yeah. So my DMs are open. If anyone has, you know, questions, we really kind of just skimmed over the surface of some like the, you know, methodology and that kind of stuff. And so if you really want to, you know, have a fun little design discussion, yeah, just hit me up and we'll chat. It's always fun for me.
So do we want to set like a public comment period of like a couple of days, and then we can get moving on that? I mean, I think this it seems like it has pretty solid support Ds with this core group, but maybe we could set some sort of comment period, and then we could maybe have another meeting where we just, or like, I don't know, I would like to get, I think we all, time is of the essence here. So what's our next steps moving forward?
Yes, next steps is snapshot up. I mean, tonight if we can. I think that was the plan. Just because we knew that it was going to be such a big change, and wanted to just make sure that we had DAO approval. So we were gonna, I think, just put a simple snapshot up of.
So I think from a procedure perspective, I believe Austin is recording this, and so maybe the thing to do is to link the video of the recording in the snapshot so that people who miss this can take a look when they cast their vote.
That seems like a good idea. So we want to go immediately to snapshot. You were saying tonight, Dees?
Probably, just because I know it takes like a week, and so during that time, yeah, comments and all that stuff, I think that'd be great.
You guys think we can like have like a draft or an early mock-up of what the website would look like before we take it to a snapshot, just to make sure that, you know, we're gonna be able to use these colors and make something that we like? Or
I would just say the problem with that is, like, to actually go forward with all these changes is an immense undertaking. And so, I mean, Dees, maybe you could comment about how much more sample material you want to produce, but in my opinion, this is like enough for everyone to either say like we like the direction or not generally, and then, you know, this is where at some point we do run into, in the DAO context, too many cooks in the kitchen. And I think Dees has done a great job of presenting to everyone like, here's the strategy, and now we either all collectively need to say, you know, Dees, you're leading us in the right direction, and on the design front we're going to go with your suggestions, or not. But I don't know how much, I don't know how substantive it would be to vote on any particular sample. It's more like, you know, this is a major vibe change across the board, and I think that's more the thing to vote on, as opposed to, you know, does this version of the website look good? Because there's a lot more mock-up that needs to happen, as Dees was saying, to actually do that. That's just my opinion.
That's almost kind of what my question is. And Dees, you can probably give us some really good context. So if it's a snapshot, could you help us understand what exactly the content of the snapshot is? Like, what are we actually voting on? You know, help us just understand that. How precise is the snapshot going to be? Maybe that's the question.
That's a great question. Was gonna work with Dumpling and Publius and really anyone else for that, because never written this type of snapshot before for Beanstalk. But I'm assuming it'd probably be, you know, are we, just like the things that Publius mentioned just earlier. Are we okay with the general creative direction for this? Like, are we okay with the primitives? Again, like, we're trying to focus on the principles, the design principles here, because it's really up to the like the different teams, like the UX UI team, to apply it in a way that works, right? Like, we just need to make sure that the principles that we vote on are solid, right? We just need to make sure that this creative direction is something that we'd want. And if it's like generally, like, if you're, I would probably say this, like, if you're generally like, oh yeah, like, you know, if you like the logo, if you like the colors more or less, if you like the type more or less, then like that's really all that you're really voting on. Because again, like, when we're making those assets, it's up to those, whoever's designing those, to make it work.
I guess this actually, I think, brings up a bigger DAO question as well. I mean, like, I know we passed BIPs as a DAO, and we're doing the funding through BFPs and stuff like that through snapshots. But I guess when we're making larger strategic choices with department heads and stuff like that, at what point does it, like, I'm not to be trying to sound contrarian and or like prevent the community from talking, but I'm not sure what the necessity of like a snapshot is for like, is the idea then going forward when we make larger strategic decisions like department wide that we're going to be making snapshots that go forward?
I mean, from my perspective, and Deez, you can feel free to chime in here as well, but this isn't necessarily the standard for every big decision, but this is so essential, right? It's not an on-chain BIP, but it is something that we want to sample, at least take a straw poll in the form of a snapshot that people are either for, against, or ambivalent, right? So I think this is a good practice, and it's not necessarily something that needs to be explicitly defined, but for big decisions like this, it makes a lot of sense.
I really like having a third option as ambivalent, to be honest. I think that's a good move, because then I think if we get 10%.
Well, that's just not voting,
No, I kind of like that as a. I mean, I'm interested in discussing the option of having 3 votes, because I think if we have if we have 70% strongly in favor, 20% ambivalent, and 10% against, then actually that kind of gives a better take, doesn't it?
Yeah, and
we
then
get
also
50% ambivalent and 25% on either side of the tail, and that seems like we probably don't want to move forward.
Yeah, and I think it also that starts to pose the question of like, or it could be the case that maybe it's 80% ambivalent, in the sense that people don't really care and just want Deez to be able to run this run with this direction. I think this is actually like a broader DAO governance question. So like, because when would we? Obviously, this is a test to see if we want to do something in the future like this with a snapshot, and should we want? We might want to talk about, not now, but like what kind of criteria would we want to put in place? Should we need to put a snapshot out for something like this in the future? I guess that's where I'm thinking from like a governance perspective.
Yeah, that's a higher level question, but probably not one we have an answer for immediately. And with most of this stuff, the goal is to just move in the right direction and establish good processes. So it is probably a good idea to use this as an opportunity to come up with some sort of process we want to adopt as Beanstalk Farms, to kind of what is the appropriate time to check in on specific things with the DAO as a whole. And this is clearly one of them, but it's unclear what the other ones might be.
So I've gotten a couple of DMs for that were in support of a comment period. I don't know if that's. I don't want to slow things down. In some ways, the snapshot is a way of commenting. The only advantage of a comment period, I guess, is that I don't know. It's I also don't want. Obviously, we really would like this to to pass, because we want to be able to deliver these things to the different agencies we're working with and that sort of thing. So I just wanted to mention that, because I guess the idea might be that some people don't feel, if they are a little bit against it, they probably might not feel as comfortable expressing
Well, the
criticism.
comment window is officially open, right? Like, it's open. So if you have issues, you got to raise them. You can't have issues and not raise them or not vote. So the beauty is there's now an open, everyone can comment in the Discord. They can comment now, they can comment later on, or they can vote. So I think from what you're saying is quite well addressed, right? People that don't want to comment, they can just vote with their stock. People that want to comment and have a discussion, they can start that discussion now. And I think Deez has done such an amazing job. But one thing that Deez has made clear throughout this is still a pitch and a draft, and it is very much open for commentary. And so we're not saying, okay, everything is finalized, but this is more in my opinion, a straw poll more than anything else. So the snapshot is a straw poll of, do we like this or not like this? There's nothing to actually vote on. It's not like a BIP where there's substance that on chain there's going to be a change. This is just, are we heading in the right direction as a group or not? That's my opinion.
Oh, I think that makes sense. So in the meantime, either speak up now, or you can, DM D's directly if you want. You can chime up in the Discord, and then you can also vote no if you don't like it. So I think that's probably, we do want to have assets we can deliver to Creator, to Luna, to all these people we're working with. We want to rebrand as soon as we can if we're going to do this. So I think there is a sense of urgency here a little bit. So I think we probably will move forward with the snapshot vote tonight. But we're certainly, in the meantime, we're open to hearing everyone's voice.
Another
with
good
any design decision. I was just going to say, there's going to be, you'll never please everyone with the design decision. So I think that we probably, if we can get 75% of people to say this is a big improvement, then I think that that's what. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, TB.
No, I was just saying, and this is something we can, talk offline about as well, is if we'd like our new media initiatives to reflect this change, all these people are going to see the new logo and the new branding, but they might come on the website and see something completely different because the website is going to catch up, in a little bit. So that's just something we should discuss kind of offline of how we want to address that, because for a while people might see two different logos or branding, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that is a good thing to talk about right now with the DAO. But my hot take on that is definitely don't want two brands floating around. So unless we have like a major we change the website with the new brand, we probably can't really use it in marketing, to be honest. But I don't know. That's my hot take. What does the DAO think?
Yep, agreed.
So these, if this goes to voting and it gets passed, how long do you think until we have something ready for then we take it to marketing or share it with others?
Again, that's something that it's a very loaded question because we're dealing with UX UI front end engineers. We were probably imagining if this gets voted and we're good with the direction, then we could start working with UX UI next week, as well as finalize that style guide because the DAO said go. And then from then, I would assume at least 6 weeks for us to start to see any type of progress as far as getting things implemented. But that's just, again, estimates. We'd have to talk with the teams. But I think that's the goal, right? Is to rebrand within Q1.
Dumpling, how does that align with, or TB, how does that align with the other conversations that you guys are having? Is 6 weeks too long? And the reason I ask that is that if it's misaligned anyway, if that 6 week time period is longer than you would want, then maybe it makes more sense to move forward in the short term with the existing branding, with those relationships we're building, with the understanding that there will be a change, but not rushing this process, because even if you rush it, it's still going to be 6 weeks. Do you hear what I'm saying?
I do. We in talking to Creator yesterday or the day before, they were saying, so should we, what assets should we use, and should we wait for a redesign, wait for a new logo? But if it's just, sure, we could give them the logo, but the website, if it's not incorporated, we don't want, like Deez was saying, we don't want two different logos at the same time. So I think it is a discussion, when is that switch going to happen? And if it's 6 weeks, we probably should be progressing with everything with our current assets, our current logo, our current design.
Yeah, that's as I'm hearing the conversation, that's kind of what I'm hearing too. And really that gives a chance to get all the pieces caught up. And so when the change does happen, it's go live, everything. And you can preface the other relationships by saying, hey, you know what, we want to keep moving forward. We're going to use the current system for now. Just know that in 8 weeks or whatever that time period ends up being, when everybody can get on the same page, we're going to make the big switch all at once, and all fronts will go through that.
It'd be nice if we could hit Q2 as opposed to 6 weeks from now would put us into Q2, right? It'd be nice if we could hit like end of March or even sooner. Is there any is 6 weeks just kind of off the top of your mind, Deez? Could that be expedited, do you think?
Just to jump in on the front end side here. So I spoke a bit with some of the rest of the design team. Deez, you and I haven't had a chance to circle up on this quite yet, but I think in terms of triaging this, so there's definitely a lot of UI UX work that needs to get done and sort of incorporating this style into the site, and then also designing a lot of new components. My thought is that if we can focus on some of the more structural stuff, like nailing down the full color palette, all of the different cards and other major elements, we can have some of the front end team just patchwork some of the existing inputs and other things together, and kind of do this in parallel, so we can get something shipped that matches the brand by end of Q1, and then maybe spend the first few weeks of Q2 cleaning some stuff up, upgrading components, and that sort of thing. So happy to chat more offline about that as well.
So what's going through my mind is, if there's nothing broken, I think we're all kind of on the same page that the current system isn't necessarily broken. What is kind of pushing this idea of expediting is trying to align with some of the external relationships we're building. But if nothing is broken, it may make more sense to take some time, keep the current system in place for just a little while longer, get everybody aligned, everything from UI UX right on through, establish that date, make it clear to internal groups, external groups, etc., and take a little bit of time to make sure that we're doing it right, and so we're not regretting expediting later on.
I agree with Rex. I think we continue. I mean, take your time with the design. We continue with the current design that we have, and then when that's ready, we take it as an opportunity and make a big thing out of the new branding. But maybe no need to rush it now.
I tend to agree. I'm curious for Publius's thoughts on this.
I mean, I'm very in favor of us trying to get our shit together as a organization and aim towards a target date, but that's just so not the way things have been done thus far. Things ship when they're ready, and so if everyone is kind of on board to pick a date a couple weeks out and work towards that, we're totally game. But that would just be a change. I mean, and maybe it's a good change to make, but it would require buy-in from everybody. We just don't want to rush these.
Yeah, that's my thought too. I don't want to rush the process and then say, oh man, we rushed this system that represents the protocol.
I guess my thinking is, I totally agree with that. I think we shouldn't rush. I'm wondering when we should ramp up our ad spends, like our promotional spending, and if we'll get more bang for our buck once this is out. And I'm balancing that versus our need to grow, and just kind of wondering how those two things fit in. Should we spend, if we spend a big portion of, it seems like we'll get more bang for our buck once we have this beautiful website, new logo, everything's really nice and clean, and so I'm just wondering about that, if we should reconsider.
But this is kind of the problem. It's at some point then we're just standing still, right? So we can wait, but then if everything's waiting for everything else, then nothing's happening. Which is why to date, the model has just been when things are ready, we push them.
Well, think about it this way: how many like other great brands have gone through multiple iterations? You know, think about like the iterations that Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook have gone through from their earliest states to where they are now. I mean, there's always been multiple iterations, and those brands have become iconic, and it's been okay. You know, so yeah, I guess my point of view is it's all right if we go through iterations, and if we say let's take our time, make sure that
What if we just
really
change the logo on the website and then started marketing sooner rather than later using the new design, and we can have D's kind of take the lead in making sure all the marketing is aligned with the new brand, and then in the meantime we can work towards updating the website and all the other content by a certain date, but that way we can kind of get the best of both worlds.
Just jumping in here, that's actually I was literally just about to say that. So I think that would be great. Like if the snapshots kind of focus just like, look, this is the logo, and then things can kind of get tweaked later. But if we start using the current Beanstalk logo in the marketing, then it just gets out there further, and if we already have the logo, then it'd be good to just change it right away.
And I think in terms of like the outreach and from like PR and like the marketing agencies and stuff like that, I don't foresee it being like a ton of paid media to start. To be honest, I'm thinking it's probably gonna be a lot more earned media and organic media, where we wouldn't be using like as much graphic design, maybe kind of limited to the logo and to the icon itself. It's gonna probably be a lot more written content, I would think, out of the gate. So it's not going to be like we're going to further entrench the existing brand. I don't think too much in the near term, especially with the agencies that we'll be working with. So it might actually give plenty of time for kind of this conversion to happen.
Also, not to take anything away from the design, but the protocol is still the same protocol. So I don't think we're like going to lose value of starting work from now. I expect us to still grow with the current design, and then capitalize and take an opportunity on the new branding when it's ready.
TB, how do you feel? As far as continuing with with Creator, with Luna.
I mean,
they're convincing me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm there. I think one of two ways have been suggested, right? So one's what Publius said, change the logo, change the biggest thing that you can, because it's done. Let's say it is done in 3 days or whatever. It's done. You change that. You ship that, and we get the ball rolling. The second option is D says, I'm not comfortable with that. I need time and I need to build this out. Give me 6 weeks or 8 weeks until we do a full launch and we shift the website and everything in one go. And until then, we push on marketing. And as J-Dubs pointed out, it's not like we're producing a ton of videos or visual material. It's going to be a lot of written, it's going to be podcasts, it's going to be audio. So either way, I think we're going to be fine. But we should push on marketing. The one thing I don't want to do is delay any marketing initiatives. Because as Publius says, then you're just standing, right? And then one team's waiting for the other. So either way, it's marketing gets going. But I would ask D's, how do you feel about changing just the logo for now and just going on marketing? Are you comfortable with that, or would you prefer to just build this out before we ship it?
I mean, I like really don't want to be the cog, or the clog in the wheel. Like, I don't want to be the funnel, but yeah, it's kind of like, would we feel comfortable releasing just the field and not the silo? Like the logo, it's definitely a primitive, it's definitely strong, but if we're gonna keep hacking things together and doing it like that, I mean, I feel like that's just kind of duct taping the brand and making us start from square one, potentially even hurting it. That's my hot take, and I feel like we should just take the time. Like we can keep going with marketing, just like everybody said. We could keep just use the current brand right now. You know, it going back to like the principles in the presentation. A strong brand, consistency, right? Like I don't want to ruin what we've already duct taped in the past 3 weeks to make this and hustle for this, just to mix it with what we're doing right now. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
All right, I mean, that sounds pretty yeah, so is everyone game with that? We just move, but Andy, do you want to put a date on it? Like Publius asked.
No, yeah, for sure. But again, like it's not just my call. We'd have to talk with UX UI. We'd have to talk with front end.
Okay.
It's quite a big initiative, right, to revamp the entire website. And so
yeah, absolutely.
How about this? Deez and I can circle up tonight or tomorrow and talk through this a little bit more in depth. Try to figure out what the resourcing will look like over the next month, and then try to get a date to everybody. I would love to do this as fast as possible so we can get things like get the new brand released end to end, even if that means doing a bit of duct taping the current components and like trying to fit them into the design guide while we update them. So we'll discuss that and get back to everybody with a date.
Okay, I think that sounds good. Yeah, it's very exciting. So we'll get the vote up, but it sounds like since things will be on pause a little bit, the urgency of this, went from 1 week to 6 weeks. So I think that we're likely not going to, the vote isn't as, the timing isn't quite as critical, as I guess I thought it was if we were going to kind of swap everything out very quickly. So yeah, feel free to, to send in, any comments, ideas you have, or to, chat about it. We'll get it up for a vote, and yeah, I guess. Sorry, we've been going for a long time, guys, but this has been very important. So I think it's good that we spent the time to talk about this.
Yeah, sorry, Dumpling, just before you wrap up, so is the idea we are gonna curb the design entirely now until all of it's ready to ship? I mean, I think I'm a little lost, and I feel like we kind of went from both sides in the conversation just now.
Yeah, I think that's the decision. Is we're gonna wait. We're gonna keep everything under wraps until we have the entire entire design and entire website basically, redesigned and everything, right? Because we don't think it would be an iterative improvement to swap out the logo. It would be like, I guess the idea is it'd be like kind of like mixing two different things that don't really jive with each other. And so from a design perspective, it sounds like we want to hold off on making those changes until we have everything.
Can we do April Fools? April 1st, April Fool's Day?
Yeah, well, that would be isn't that the start of Q2? We should do it for April 1st.
Or the spring equinox? Spring solstice? Spring equinox.
March 20th. March 20th. I guess to JWW's point, if he's saying, like, are we sure it wouldn't be like swapping out the logo maybe in like 2 or 3 weeks or something? Like if we had time to do it thoughtfully and not just, with duct tape, would that be an iterative improvement over the current design or not? Like just to consider that once more. Deez. Directed towards you.
I mean, just to
I
get
guess,
this.
Sorry, my thought would be that the longer people have an I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. The longer people have to associate the new logo, the less of a shock it might be when all of a sudden everything's, if the logo was continuity to the new website, as opposed to like new logo, new design, new typeface, like, am I even on the same website, you know?
So,
That'd be my only
okay,
thought.
maybe I wasn't clear through the presentation. That's kind of my fault. And I totally don't blame the DAO, right? We read white papers, we're dealing with DeFi. Branding is not a logo. Branding is not a color palette. It's the entire experience of what Beanstalk is. Like, not trying to be overly dramatic, but I'm really just trying to say it how it is. Branding goes way farther than just changing a logo on the website and saying, hey, look, Beanstalk, it's different. When the experience of the website's the same, when all our content that we haven't even made is mixed. Like, in my opinion, that actually hurts both brands. Like, we need to be very conscious of how we're doing this. And I'm not trying to get out of work. This past 3 weeks just to get to this point has been a sprint. And for us to revamp the website and the entire experience of it in what we're trying to do in like 2-3 weeks is like, I don't know, tripling, quadrupling what we just did in the past 3 weeks. I mean, if we want to do that and if we want to duct tape some stuff, then we can go for it. But I just want to kind of be clear and make sure that everyone kind of understands like what goes into this.
I mean, I do, Deez. I'm looking at the website now, so I'm imagining if we just swapped out our current Bean logo just with that Bean logo, and I don't think it would look that good. I don't think it'd be that big of an improvement. Like, I think that it'd probably look better seeing it all at once. So, you know, maybe you could be an intermediate thing where the logo and the fonts are swapped out or something like that. But I think probably I'm inclined to listen to you and to just wait. I think that probably does make more sense. Looking at the website, trying to visualize what you would even do. I don't really understand how you would iterate to improve this. It seems like whole new website, whole new everything, whole new logo, whole new brand. Seems to make sense to me. And sorry to reopen a can of worms when we kind of, you know, we're making a decision. So, okay, since it's getting a little late, let me just. I feel like we could just do a quick recap of the other things that are going on, and then call it a day here. Sorry, I'm just re-pulling up my notes here. Okay, I'm not sure who should talk about all the. I guess JWW, do you want to talk just very briefly about where we are with Luna?
And then we can transition away. So Luna, and we actually had a really good call. We had a serotonin call, which was a couple of days ago. Got the proposal from them that TB can talk about. But then Luna was the other agency we've been talking to for a while. They came back to us with a revised scope. I think we're looking pretty good that we're going to put it out there for a snapshot for everyone to take a peek at. But the idea is kind of that Luna would be working more on the PR side, focusing more on getting us into publications, and then potentially helping us with write-ups themselves, and then working on like speaking engagements. And then Serotonin would focus more on content, like the content side, which TB can chat about. It's not very common to have two agencies run in tandem, but I think that we can get it to work with them. So we're waiting to hear back from Serotonin, and then after that, we're going to reach back out to Luna, and then hopefully get going with them as soon as possible. Ideally, like the start date with them is no more than like 2 weeks out once we get everything finalized. So we're really hoping for kind of early to mid-March at the latest to get going with them.
And in order to get going with them, how quickly do we have to pay them and get a snapshot out?
Yeah, it's like, so the snapshot we'd have to get out hopefully in the next couple of days, probably 2 to 3 days, but we have to finalize with them the payment via seeds and or pods. And so I've reached out to them. I'll be contacting them in 24 to 48 hours, depending on, again, this response that we get from Serotonin. And then I would say it's probably 2 to 3 days after that, we can kind of finalize the SOW from them, which hopefully is like early to mid next week. Then we put the snapshot up, which is probably like another week out. So maybe by mid, maybe around like probably the 28th that we're able to finalize that and get payment over to them, and then ideally start with them maybe the week after. I think that's probably ambitious. If not, the 7th or the 14th, that we could ideally get them going. But they know the urgency and make it pretty clear every time we talk with them. So and given the fact that it was something they added to the contract, I think we can push them to start, kind of ASAP. So hopefully by the 14th at the latest.
Okay, great. Jaker, do you want to talk real quick on the emails that you've set up for people? I know JWW, you were involved in that too a little bit, but I'll let Jaker speak to it.
Yeah, happy to, Dumpling. So for anyone that doesn't know, we've set up an email account. It's at bean.farm. And many of you who have consumer or customer-facing roles already have access to those. If you would like one and I haven't made you one, please just reach out through DMs. I think really anyone can have access to them that wants them, although it does cost us like a little bit of money. So just, having one to have one may not be the best solution here, but the goal is to give one to those that might be reaching out to people, whether it be different DAOs to work with or just have a little bit more of an official way to reach out than we have in the past. So feel free to DM me if you have any questions or thoughts or want one yourself.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, thanks for taking ownership on that one. That was really great. Okay, do we have Farmer Dan? You want to give a quick shout out on the merch that came in?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I got the mugs and the shirts in this week. Both look really great. I'm actually wearing one of the shirts right now. Super comfy. Pretty true to size too, which is nice. Yeah, I mean, if you take a look in the merch channel, that stuff is over there. Some of this merch might be limited edition now, moving into the future, which is kind of cool. Because we made about like 50 of the mugs, 50 of the hats. And what I like about the shirts too is they're basically just based off the Genesis NFTs, The shout out to Bean Goons for that. Like that was all his design there. I just kind of pushed those forward. But yeah, so we got just keep a lookout on Twitter too, doing some like giveaways and stuff, just getting some more like exposure and following through that, which has been pretty cool. But yeah, all that stuff's in. It's probably gonna start shipping out like next week.
So if people want a mug or something, can they reach out to you or how does that work?
Yeah, exactly. I think the premise for all this stuff was pretty much just, we want to get it pushed out there. So, like how cool to be one day you're just walking to get a coffee and you see somebody wearing a Beanstalk hat or the All My Homies So shirt, So, basically just send me a DM and then we'll, go from there. Just I'll be able to send it out to you.
Cool. All right, great. All right, JWW, do you want to talk a little bit about the poker tournament?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot on that front, so I'll try to keep it tight. But high level, just so the community knows, we're going to be hosting a tournament where you can buy in via Bean.money. We're going to be running it on PokerStars, and we're working on the onboarding process now of having users join PokerStars, going over to Bean.money, submitting the buy-in, and then getting access to the Discord. In terms of timeline right now, we're aiming for the first week of March to launch that, so it'll be on the 5th. We'll be updating that in the invite in the DAO. We are working on a handful of things in terms of marketing and promotion. That one of the cool things that Dumpling brought up and has pushed a lot is something called Cameo, where we're trying to get people who do voiceover, like basically read scripts and stuff like that, that are professional poker players, to talk about the tournament itself. Actually, there's a ton of stuff, and TBI can leave a lot of it to you if you want to talk about it. But we won't be running ads for it, but we will be live streaming through Twitch. IPO is already kind of signed up on it and trying to get a co-host currently right now. and we're working on the tournament details in terms of what the buy-ins will look like, what the rounds will look like, what the chip allocation will look like, what the payouts will look like. There's a bunch of stuff on that front that we're working through. And then lastly, kind of the outreach, which Bean in turn has been helping us tackle, kind of reaching out to a couple other protocols to bring them in. So we're just kind of waiting for updates from him on that. A lot of moving parts to it. And huge shout out to kind of everyone who's been involved. I mean, Dumpling, you've obviously been crucial. I think this is all your baby to start with. And to TB and to Mod and to Publius and to everyone that's been, chatting with us and working on this stuff, Farmer Dan, Canadian Bennett, helping to set up everything with me on the Discord. I mean, honestly, it's been a very big, broad team effort. So thanks to everyone that's been helping. And yeah, we'll have news for the team more so in the coming days. There's just a lot of stuff that we're running through with it.
Oh, and last mention for that, we're thinking about doing, or I think we're planning on doing it if we can pull it off. We're working out the wallet and the buy-ins, how that whole process is going to work, and so we're going to do a test run. And if anyone's interested in playing, what did we decide, J Dubs? Like $50?
Yeah, we're going to aim for 50.
Yeah, so $50 buy-in. I think we're going to limit it to 18 people and just like a test run poker tournament. And we're shooting for this Saturday or Sunday, but it's a little bit TBD depending on how much progress we can make on that front tomorrow. So we will just, maybe if you're interested, just DM me if you want to play the sort of the trial poker tournament, and just let me know and we'll get you all set up, and it should be fun, and I'm going to win. So, all right, next, the video update. I guess we can, JW, you can talk about that.
Yeah, so then we've got this, the video curriculum that we've been talking about. First it was the curriculum, and now it's kind of focused to just being kind of a quick onboarding video. So we're finalizing the script for the video right now. Voiceover, we've gotten an audio test file from Beethoven, which was awesome. And we've gotten an illustration demo from Beans Bunny, which is great too. Once we get the kind of the finalized language for that, we'll be able to push those things out pretty quickly. And we're still thinking about how we can allocate the video. Obviously, it won't be like revised to be branded per what we just saw with D's, but it'll be on brand with where we're kind of at right now. And we'll just share the video with that with the DAO as soon as we have it ready to take a peek at.
Sweet. Okay, that's about what I have. I have one other mention that just because he's here and he's so great, I just want to mention that that Rex will be submitting a snapshot for Rex to be community manager. So I'm really excited. We've had several chats with me, him, and Publius, and we're just thrilled to have him in that role. And Rex, I know I said I'd announce you next week, but I think that just even with your input today, I just think that you've been really, really great. So I'm really excited to put that up for a vote with the community, and to have someone who can spend a lot more time in the Discord, spend a lot more time. Obviously he has a great presence on Twitter already, and really good vision for a really big appreciation for this community, and a good vision for how to grow it and bring it into the future. So Rex, maybe you want to just say hello real quick, and you can have a longer segment maybe next week, but just wanted you to say hello.
Sure. Yeah. No, this is, can't tell you how excited I am to be part of the community in general, and then taking on this role. I mean, it was, a role that I looked at and thought about for a while, and just to kind of have it come together like this, couldn't be more excited. Really, really excited to get in and get working, and just provide some good feedback and keep working on growing our community. So definitely pumped to be part of the process.
I just wanted to introduce you so that people could put a voice behind the name when they see the snapshot going out. I just, for reference, I reached out to Rex because I was thinking he'd be the best man for the job if he was willing, and I'm so thrilled that he is. So,
yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, so real quick, just in case I'm sure I forgot, there's other things, other pieces of business to discuss. I'm opening the floor up, but also just keep in mind, we've been going for a while, so I don't want to drive people too crazy.
I think we just need Beethoven to close us out with a song on on these calls. Not to put you on the spot this time, but going forward, it'd be great. Honestly,
Absolutely.
Beethoven, we're all just bumping your songs constantly.
Well, I promise to get the better versions to you any day now. Yeah, I've got no new ones, but I can
Play a classic.
Oh yeah,
do a
absolutely.
little underscore, So feel free to leave at your leisure. Nothing's gonna happen.
Before we do,
but
I need to mention one more thing. That sweet red beans. We'll be submitting a snapshot for you. I know that you've been helping a lot behind the scenes, but I wanted to mention you if you want to say hello.
Yeah, hi everyone.
I know that you've been, a lot of the magic behind the scenes, working with these, and so I just thought maybe you could say hello. And
Hey, can you hear me?
yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, I have been helping Deez just kind of with definitely, I don't want to take credit for anything he's done. I would say most of what you've seen today is from him, but have been helping on the UX side and planning to kind of help out in a more, I guess in a more formal fashion now. So yeah, definitely great to meet you guys. I usually am pretty quiet in these meetings, but yeah, feel free to DM me if you have questions about UX and product stuff. Thanks, Dumpling.
Okay, well, great. I'm looking forward to
the new prices on the website on the left. That Sweet Red did a great job towards Silo Chat to make that happen. So, very valuable addition to the. Well, I guess you've been working the whole time, but it'll be great to have a snapshot and get you officially on the Beanstalk Farms team.
Yeah, I think that's just great. Thanks, Sweet Red Beans. Appreciate all that you've done and look forward to all that you're going to continue to do. Beethoven, I think we could take a song.
Okay. Let's get one we all know here. You can sing quietly to yourselves if you like. There's a field filled with beans, I can see it in my dreams. You got yours, best believe that I got mine. Plant the pods, watch them grow, you can reap whatever you sow. Won't be long, don't you know, till harvest time. Honest work, honest pay, we'll be laughing one fine day. There'll be no need to pray for rain to fall. There's a moon up in the sky, we will get there by and by, as we climb up so high, one and all. Oh Lord, as we climb up so high, one and all.
Woo!
I'm bowing right now. You can't see, but I'm bowing.
Oh, I mean, we can go for another hour and a half now. Energized. That's big bean energy right there.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, what a group. We love you all.
Yeah.
A 2-hour meeting on Thursday evening, just awesome.
I can just imagine Publius listening to that 24/7 while they work nonstop on the protocol.
It's totally accurate.
Okay, well, guys, thanks so much for coming. Deez, thank you again for, putting your heart on the table. That must be hard to put something that you put so much work into for just the quick scrutiny of 25, 27 people. So I really appreciate that. I think bold, and everyone seems to like it. So I think let's get the snapshot up. Let's get this out. But also, I think I appreciate you holding firm and saying that you need time to turn this, turn this cocoon into a butterfly, or whatever. I think that's awesome. So appreciate you all coming and for this long meeting. Beethoven, amazing song, and yeah, let's play some poker this weekend and keep building. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.